What's up, Ringside Nation? The Ring Boys are back. After a UFC 299 card, I think we were pretty hyped for this one going in, and it did not disappoint. I'm here with my beautiful co-host. Boys, how we feeling?
Great. This was very exciting. It was so much fun to watch. It brought happiness. I don't think I would have stayed up as late if this card wasn't as good.
Doc?
Yeah, we got exactly what we wanted. I'm super excited to talk about what we saw this past Saturday.
Great fight card to watch. Not a fun one to predict. None of us hitting our locks of the card, and we'll get into that shortly. But Sean O'Malley just showing levels of dominance over Marlon Cheeto Vera. Cracked him with a pretty crazy knee, which I think everyone thought was definitely the turning point and the ending point. And it just shows why Cheeto's never been finished. Went to a decision. There was a point in time where I was like, all right, Cheeto's got to make this dirty. I'm waiting for him to get in. And he was just afraid of Sean's striking the whole fight. He didn't really find his rhythm. He didn't find an entry point. There were times where he looked a little better, but I'd say 10% of the fight, he was better than Sean O'Malley. And yeah, O'Malley with a great first title defense. Artie?
Yeah, I'm looking to see what the knee that everybody heard, what exactly happened, because I saw a pretty wild tweet that said that it might have cracked his skull, actually. But I don't know that it's true. I do know that he was hospitalized, but that knee was absolutely insane.
Yeah, I saw
that. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, I saw that same tweet. I looked into it. Bisping even fell for it, but it wasn't a credible source. He was hospitalized. It was pretty bad, but
yeah,
still crazy.
Bisping fell for it, dude. That poor guy. Just exactly what I said on our Friday episode. Like, Cheeto just, I don't know, like, we get that he has the stamina. We get that he can take the fights for a long time. He's got heart. Like, he's got all these things that would usually make up a great fighter, but he doesn't push the pace at all. And as we saw throughout that whole fight on Saturday, he was just not even close to as fast as Sean. Sean was just all over him the whole time. Very, very impressive win. I think Cheeto should take quite a bit of time off. Take time, heal, maybe come up with a new game plan. Because when I was watching this, the coaches in the corner weren't being as aggressive enough with him when he was down 2 rounds and they were going into the third. I didn't hear anything where they said, like, let's push the pace. Like, it just, I don't know what it is. I want Cheeto to be good because he has all the things going for him. He's a likable guy. He's funny. Like, he's all over social media, whatever. Like, just every time he comes out there against somebody who is very, very good, it doesn't seem right. But nonetheless, the big showing for Sean. What an exciting Saturday for him. He came out there. I wouldn't say it was easy work because Cheeto just definitely didn't let up. And that body shot right at the end of the fight definitely got him because he said it did. But nonetheless, it was an incredible title fight. Doc?
Yeah, I was gonna say that last body shot was Marlon Vera's best attack of the entire fight. This beating that Sean O'Malley gave Vera is very similar to what he did against, I don't know if you guys remember, Chris Moutinho, where Sean O'Malley couldn't put him out until the end. And, the doctors or the refs stopped it. But I think, like, Chris Moutinho was getting his face beaten for the entire fight, and it was no different when it got stopped. It's also reminiscent of what Justin Gaethje did to Tony Ferguson. And, sometimes being tough is your own worst enemy. And what we saw on Saturday that Sean O'Malley did to Marlon Vera could very well be the beginning of the end of Marlon Vera's career. Like, him not going down, as much as we respect it as fans of the sport, that knee, the straight right hand that he took after the knee, the second knee that came in, like, that's going to leave lasting damage. And I know that maybe he can take enough time to kind of recover from this, but you'll never be the same after taking a beating like that. So I hope Marlon Vera can come back okay from it, but I really doubt it. He's getting up there in age. I don't know what the exact number is, but it's tough to recover from something like this. But Sean O'Malley, what he was able to do to Marlon Vera is he made Marlon Vera frustrated. Sean O'Malley has great distance control, great footwork, and Marlon Vera just couldn't hit him until Sean O'Malley got sick and tired of this guy eating the body shots, eating the knee, that he came in close and got popped. So I don't know if Sean O'Malley will learn from this and realize that, hey, I can fight people at distance and win these fights. But his ego got the best of him towards the end there, and thankfully there wasn't the last second comeback, because I think that it could have happened.
Definitely.
But great performance by Sean O'Malley. I'm very interested in seeing what he can do against someone like Merab, because I don't think he can hang with someone like Merab, but I also didn't think he could hang with someone like Aljo. So maybe his distance control is just that good. We'll see.
That we will. And O'Malley obviously heavy on the cardio and training for this fight. His striking showing levels. That 10% that I referenced was that body shot. Was it a liver shot? Was it like straight to the liver, or was it not? I think it was probably the other side. But now, I mean, we're a big permutation group here. So I'm wondering what's next. Sean O'Malley obviously calling out Ilya Taporia. I think we can all agree that we're not big fans of seeing double champs this fast, especially when you have one title defense. I think we definitely got to see him and Merab run it back. There was a clip where Merab came up to him and was congratulating him. He was like, "Congrats, man!" But like, to not even mention my name, like, that's crazy. And Sean kind of just shrugged him off. He was like, "Oh, I didn't even see who that was, haha." So he's kind of playing the superstar role, and I get it. But you better get in the gym like when that your leg and hand heals and start learning how to do takedown defense, because Merab is going to take him to the mat. This isn't going to be a boxing match, and he caught Aljo up beautifully, and he definitely can do it to Merab. But I don't know. I think the line opening already was Merab's minus 205 favorite, which is like, that's a pretty big line. So, yeah, we got.
I don't think that's too far off.
Yeah,
and I would be surprised if we see that fight like end of July, August. Because I think Sean even said he wanted to fight at least 3 times this year. So, I mean, why not?
Agreed. You got any permutations on this one?
Just that. And like I said to you guys before we started recording, Dana shot down anything regarding double champs for Ilya or Sean before they could get enough title defenses. And I feel like it's almost like disrespectful in a way, because if you look at the double champs that we've had in the UFC history, it's like there's a certain type of status to those people that I don't think that Sean or anyone really has yet. I mean, obviously Volkanovski trying his best for it. Like, he has that status, right? He's defended how many times? He was the champ for like 1,500 days or something like that. Like, he deserved a shot that he wanted. So
Just
why not?
Just unfortunate he wasn't ready to go for it on the second run against Islam. But
yeah,
I just want to say that, yeah, Dana is understanding the mistake that he made by allowing Volk to fight that second time, where he might have completely derailed the number 1 pound for pound fighter for a few years, like his entire career. He doesn't want to do that with Sean O'Malley. Sean O'Malley can become a Conor McGregor way more than Ilya Taporia can.
I agree.
That's true. Before we move on, one crazy stat I'll give you. You mentioned Chris Patino earlier. This obviously was a 5-round fight. Sean O'Malley, 230 significant strikes in this fight, 230 significant strikes in the fight with Chris Patino. So I think that's kind of a coincidence, but a cool one.
That's wild. And as we go through this, like, the numbers that Cheeto has, like, you'll see some of these guys that were fighting for 3 rounds. So very, very not active. Just not a good showing.
For sure. All right, boys. I said it before. I'll say it again. This was my main event of the night, and it did not disappoint. And somebody better hit that bell for me. Not only for Sean O'Malley once, and a second time for Dustin. Did you guys see before when they were walking in? I think it was when Benoit was entering the ring. They love to do like these funny tweets that I don't understand why they show it. Like the people who bet like crazy live bets. Someone showed it showed that they bet 120K on BSD before the fight started. Right when I saw that, I was like, "Oh no!"
The Drake curse.
It was similar to like the Drake curse. Yeah, you're right on that one. Fight starts off really well, and then obviously the meme of the night, Dustin just shooting guillotines like it's his job. I know how bad he wanted to earn that one, but he caught Benoit with a great right hook and a good uppercut. And Benoit Saint Denis, I think we mentioned it on the pre-show, came out in an interview, said that he was dealing with an infection, was taking antibiotics, and it's like, okay, dude, don't try to discredit what just happened to you, because that was a bad loss in my opinion. Artie?
I don't think that was a bad loss at all. He fought against somebody who is a very, very scary man in this division that kind of went through it a couple of times and then got stopped by two other guys at the top now that are also very, very scary. If anything, if I'm BSD, I am happy with that loss because he came out and he won the first round and a half. Like, I honestly thought if he would have continued to hold that control, which in my opinion was like an absolutely crazy pace that I don't know that like how he would have been able to keep up for 5 rounds, but nonetheless, like he was really putting it on, and like in my opinion, like that's like if the guy at like 13 or 12 of whatever in the lightweight division is doing this to the top guys in the division, that's impressive because Dustin came out right after the fight and said, I was losing this whole thing until I got that knockdown. And that was a very, very honest thing. And I'm very, very happy for Dustin because this was like I wouldn't really say showing levels, but because it really wasn't clean. But like he came out and he won, and for his career, this is a big deal because, in my opinion, I think if he would have lost this one, he might have actually hung up the gloves. But this is another opportunity for him, as we saw him give a little tweet to Islam. But we can talk about that after Doc gives us his thoughts.
Yeah, I mean this fight was incredible. I'd be lying if I said that I wasn't screaming in happiness at the projector when Dustin Poirier knocked out Benoit Saint Denis. The guillotines were getting a bit annoying because you could see Dustin when he would hit BSD, even in the first round, BSD was feeling it. And Dustin actually said something really interesting at the end, in like the post fight interview in the ring. He said that he felt that BSD was strong, but he didn't feel his knockout power, which is crazy because of the things that BSD has done to other people, 5 finishes, 6 finishes, whatever. And Dustin Poirier, being the veteran that he is, has seen power from people like Gaethje. He's seen power from people like Khabib, and he is just like even though he's been in the UFC for so long, he still got it. He had a very good game plan, in my opinion, outside of the guillotines. He was able to evade BSD and counterpunch him when he needed to. And towards the end, you could see that BSD was feeling every single punch, and I could feel that it's only a matter of time before Dustin was about to lay him out. He was able to do it. BSD, great fighter. He fought against one of the best lightweights of all time here. So nothing bad on him. And sorry, the last thing that I'll say that I didn't mention earlier, the fact that Poirier took this fight in general, he had so much to lose here. I agree. He loses and he retires because all he cares about is winning the championship, as he should. He's done enough to make himself a Hall of Famer. He's had some great fights. He puts it all out there. He doesn't mess around with the trash talk. Complete professional. And he was going up against this hype train that has been knocking everybody out, that could have ended his career. And he's like, no, I need to show everyone that they got to stop doubting me. And, plus 180 on Poirier, like Vegas got it wrong. And many people were able to capitalize on that.
Agreed. I want to go back just to reiterate my point. I don't think this is necessarily a bad loss when you look at, the stats. Obviously, BSD basically had him 2-1 on strikes. I think it's a bad loss for his confidence and for his title run in his campaign. You're on this huge win streak. Now, Dustin's saying that your knockout power isn't as great as it is, but maybe it could just be a fluke. And Benoit may have really been sick at the end of the day, and you got to wonder, was he really at his best? But when you watch that first round, he really was beating Dustin the whole time until Dustin finally found the range and felt comfortable. So that's why I felt that way.
I'll say he was at his best. I don't think anybody needs to hear about these infections. Nobody's 100% when they go into a fight. And I saw Artie shaking and said, I'm going to assume that he was about to say the same thing that I'm going to say, which is BSD needs to be humbled here. And now he's going to learn that he has areas to work on in his game. He can't just go all out in the first round against these top competitors. And this is definitely a learning experience. He showed a lot of promising things that I'm sure we'll see going forward, but he was getting too cocky for himself. And now he's brought back down to earth. I don't think this is the end for him. This isn't like the beating that Cheeto took.
Yeah.
It's much better to take one hit rather than a knee
1,000,
that breaks your nose and then just endless unblocked punches to the face. BSD will be able to recover pretty quickly from this, and he's able to learn here.
Yeah, and like I was saying in our pre-show on Friday, this is not just a regular MMA fighter. This dude is a real life warrior. He did it all. So I think when it comes to mental strength, I don't think you're gonna get any better than this. And to your point, still, I don't think that this derails anything from him. If I'm Dana and I watch this, I'm like, this dude has the potential. And like Doc said, not everybody's 100%, so nobody wants to hear the excuses. But after I watched this, I thought of one name for BSD, and that's Beneil Dariush. How good would that be if we saw that at 155? I think that makes sense for a guy who could prove that he's still in it, or maybe on his way out. If BSD beats him, that could be a very good fight to make.
For a second, I thought you were going to say Fiziev, but I agree. I want to see him go against Dariush.
Fiziev is also not that far off, but I think Fiziev...
I want to see Fiziev.
Fiziev needs to get one back before he goes up against BSD, though. I feel like he needs to get the confidence. He looks really good in the gym and all these postings, but I don't know. I want to see Fiziev in the ring once before I see him against BSD. That would allow you to put that on a pay-per-view, and it would sell faster if you know that they're confident rather than just putting names. In my opinion,
that'd be a bloodbath, honestly.
100%.
I think BSD Fiziev can be a fight that you build a card around. That is 100%. The main event.
100%.
That'd be a really good fight night at an actual arena
in France.
Something, whatever.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Lastly, before we move on from this, obviously lightweight bout that didn't go to championship rounds that I thought it was going to. Dustin wants Islam. Does he get Islam this year? I think this is a very, very good argument that, hey, let's see it happen. But we got UFC 300 next month. A lot of action at the top of the lightweight division. This is when you get your popcorn ready.
Yeah, I think the bad thing for Gaethje, who actually wants the shot against Islam, is taking that fight against Holloway.
Yeah,
because in my opinion, I don't know if he's going to win that, first of all. And second of all, I think that's a fight that I don't care who you are at 145 or 155. You're going to take a lot of damage. You're not going to be able to fight back again in 2 to 3 months. It's too quick of a turnaround after that type of fight.
Not Gaethje's fault that he wants to fight. He would have fought Islam if it wasn't for Ramadan. So you can't blame Justin Gaethje for taking a fight that is going to be a absolute banger. I feel like it would be kind of disrespectful to not give Gaethje this shot. So regardless of what just happened,
I think whatever happens, Islam's still going to be the champ at the end of the year. So I want to see him get someone very, very valid, though. I don't want to see him getting someone on 2 weeks' notice ever again. Please and thank you. Kevin Holland losing to Michael Venom Page. This one went the distance. And I thought there was going to be a little bit more trash talk. It's not very often you get to see Kevin Holland being the one that's discouraged and frustrated. Michael Venom Page did that to a pretty good degree. I thought Kevin Holland was going to do a lot more on the ground and shoot for more takedowns, but it just looked like he was really scared for the kickboxing and the potential getting a knee to the face. But nonetheless, glad to see Michael Page win. But in my opinion, when you're coming on the mic, being very fortunate, 36 years old, saying that you're going to go on this title run, being a point fighter is not going to help you make your title run. And this is a good win. I'm glad he's in the UFC, but this isn't a statement victory that he said he was going to make to earn that title run. And we'll have to wait and see. Artie?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like he is very cool. He is very very entertaining. I'll still go back to my point. I don't know that he's like a title run type of person. At 36, going into 37, I think they said in a couple of weeks. And I honestly, I would love to see him fight against Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. Because how funny would that be just to see two dudes standing, like looking at each other with their hands down, just bouncing the whole time? It was very exciting. I haven't seen too many of his fights, but like just I can see why Kevin Holland was getting so frustrated. It's very, very hard to pick apart his timing and what he was doing. That incredible range that he had, even being the same exact height, like it is just very crazy how he would charge in, and there was nothing that Kevin could do because he would try to counter, but he would somehow miss so badly every single time. Like there was a couple of times I saw him like basically wrapped around his neck because he threw a punch and he just missed so far behind him that that's just how it worked out. But nonetheless, it was definitely exciting. The walk-in was cool. I guess we're never going to see it again because Dana shot that down as well. So Doc, on to you.
Yeah, I was going to bring up the walkout. That was awesome, in my opinion. I wasn't expecting that, but as soon as I heard the theme song, the Undertaker theme song, I was like, he's going to put on a show. Like, this is great. Especially after we saw Michel Pereira do his own walkout. Interesting stuff in the prelims. Yeah, this was my lock of the card, and I got it wrong. And I'm still trying to figure out why Kevin Holland didn't try offensive takedowns. He must like not train them, and it doesn't make sense because he has a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Also, he had the reach advantage and the height advantage here. So I knew the type of fighter that Venom Page was in Bellator. He did this exact same thing against everybody. But I thought that Holland would match up physically better, and he just couldn't keep up with the pace that Michael Page was fighting at. Kevin Holland, you know, after the amazing year that he had in 2020, I believe, 5 wins, he has become a fan favorite, but he keeps like losing. And I'm not sure what to make of it because I think he's a super talented fighter that has bursts of greatness, and we see why he went on that run. And he talks about wanting to get rid of the trash talk and focus more on the getting better in the gym. And there was a very clear game plan that he should have followed here that he just didn't do. So it was not as exciting of a fight as I wanted it to be. I was hoping that there was going to be a lot more striking, but it was two fighters kind of dancing around the ring trying to get one punch or one hit strikes in there. Not a good look for Michael Venom Page, in my opinion, but also not a great look for Kevin Holland. So maybe the frustration got to him, but I thought he was stronger mentally than that, especially because he is a UFC vet that loves to fight. It didn't look like it out there. So yeah, I don't know. I wasn't super happy with this fight.
Yeah. And only one fantasy point for you from Kevin Holland on this one, getting a fight in, but not getting a win. Yeah, it's also he's been getting a lot of really good fighters as of recent. Like he had to go through Kamzat, now he gets Michael Page, and just like obviously this is an apples to orange comparison, but I haven't seen anything like Michael Page's style since like I don't know, like an Anderson Silva, just having your hands down, being awkward, trying to throw you off, and I'm surprised it worked to the fullest degree. And Kevin Holland just wasn't his normal self in the ring.
Yeah. I don't know what else to say. I mean, give him Sean Brady and he loses in a round. Like, I don't know.
Agreed. You guys think we see a name on Michael Page's name in the rankings when they come out tomorrow?
He needs to fight people like Stephen Thompson, because you put him up against a shorter, stockier wrestler, and he's got nothing. Anyone that can take a punch, he'll be able to get one punch in. But as long as you can take that punch, like if Michael Page ends up on the ground against a decent wrestler, it's over.
Agreed.
But sure, if you want to see the exciting fighter he is, put him up against a striker like Stephen Thompson that also will never go to the ground.
Agreed. Alrighty. Sad for this one. Gilbert Burns losing to Jack Della Maddalena. Those elbows that finished him off when he got dropped were pretty tough. You hate to see Gilbert Burns lose, as he's my personal fan favorite, and he was in Miami. He was winning the entire time, it seemed, from the first two judges' scorecard. But yeah, he gets down. Jack had a pretty impressive gator roll at one point. I was shocked. He just pulled it out of nowhere and escaped. And then I was like, once he did that, I was like, okay, this isn't looking good for Mr. Burns here, and it showed. Artie.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if you look at the numbers, JDM with a lot of output. I wouldn't say that all of that output was like that great in my opinion. Like he definitely showed that he's a great boxer. He threw in a lot of punches. Obviously got the knockdown. That's how he won. But what's scary is, at the welterweight division, the top of the division is there's some very, very good offensive wrestlers. So if you get somebody like Gilbert, like, yes, he had the 7 takedowns, he had the 5 minutes of control, but he's not very offensive with it. And I think that's the problem of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is they get you that position, but they're really working to try to get your back and, obviously take your neck or get some sort of submission. But it never seemed like he was really using that advantage to like all that well. And I think part of it also had to do with the fact that Jack was doing really well defensively on the ground as well. But I think Gilbert wins this fight easily if he, just was a little bit more offensive with it, and maybe another takedown in the third. But as I was saying to you guys, just the wild attempt for a takedown after that crazy roll sequence, and he just blindly went in for it, and he caught that knee. Like, it's just I guess it's how it goes. You live by it, you die by it. Doc, on to you.
Yeah. Props to Della Maddalena for getting up in the third round. When Burns was able to take him down, I thought that was the end of the fight. He put on a great performance. We were watching the tweets on the side, and people were given the first 2 rounds to Della Maddalena. I was like confused, like how Burns was clearly in control of both of those rounds. I don't know how that judge gave that first round to Della Maddalena either. Burns was fighting great. I was getting excited. Got excited a bit too early. But Jack did what he needed to do. He knew what he had to do in that third round. I'm sure he felt that he was down 2 rounds, and he found the opening and he took it. So good for him. He calls out Shavkat.
Crazy.
I don't know about that. We'll see. But he's on like a 17 fight win streak. So he has the ability to make those call outs. I don't think that's a good call out for him, but I'm sure Daniel will listen.
Well, I mean, it was either him or Kamaru, I guess. Like, Bilal's sitting just waiting for his title shot on the bench. He's not going to take a fight, and Shavkat's just the highest ranked opponent after Gilbert. So I see why, but I don't know why you would want to fight against Shavkat, especially with the performance you just had against Gilbert wrestling on the mat. You did good. You survived. It's not the same Gilbert we've seen. Shavkat is just another level. So, all right. I'm going to cry about this one. Song Yadong losing to Peter Yan. I was wrong, but man, I'll tell you, watching that first round, I felt so right. Song Yadong was doing really good on his feet. He was building off it really well. Seemed that Peter was taking his time to get the range, but I feel like that's normally the approach you see him do against anyone. He normally is slow off the bat, but once he gets his range, he makes you pay. And yeah, he bounces back. Song was just standing on the outside after the first round and just started getting pieced up and couldn't find his way back in. And good to see Peter Yan breaks the loss streak. Not great for my fantasy team and only getting 1 point here, but yeah, Song Yadong losing. Artie?
Actually, I'll let Doc go first. He seemed pretty excited before the pre-show, so or before we started the show.
Yeah, you might have almost cried from Song Yadong losing. I was almost crying in happiness from Petr Yan winning. I mean, come on. This guy was at the top of the division, got robbed a few times, lost to Merab, and he looked not great in that first round. And I forgot that you're absolutely right. This is how he fights. He kind of calculates what the opponent does in the first round. He was feeling out Song Yadong's power. And then round 2, he started turning it up a bit. In round 3, he was clearly the better fighter. Excellent range control, excellent tactics. His wrestling, he was able to showcase his wrestling. He was able to do stuff on the ground. I mean, Petr Yan just reintroduced himself to the world. He's clearly been working on stuff. And, Song Yadong did better than I expected him to do. I didn't realize his power was as great as what he showed against Petr. But it wasn't enough, and it seems like he gassed out a bit. That's something that he has to work on, but he's only 26 years old, so he has time to do that. Again, super happy for Petr Yan. I think I was worried that he was scared in the first round or he didn't have confidence in himself. But the second and the third round, that's like career altering for him. So happy to see him win. He's clearly happy about it. Can't wait to see him back out there fighting against the top contenders again.
Artie?
Yeah, I agree. And I think you made a couple of very good points that I don't know if you said when you were talking, but in the pre-show episode or the pre-fight episode, you mentioned that Song Yadong, that something happened in his training maybe or whatever it was, but he seemed to be getting hit a lot more often. And that's what it felt like in round 2 and 3. I don't even know if it was like necessarily like a gas issue, but he just every time he would try to go in, Yan had a very, very good counter for rounds 2 and 3. And I think, as you also said, there might have been just a confidence shift for Petr Yan. I think maybe something in his head clicked, and he was thinking, if I don't do this now, this could really be it, because he was, like we said, he was in a pretty bad skid, and none of it. I mean, I guess 2 of the 5 could have definitely been losses, but otherwise, yeah, reintroduction to the world. He's still in the top 5. He's got a lot of confidence. The only thing that I'm not too sure about is who is he going to get next. There's so much going on in this division. It's a very exciting division now. So I'll just be curious to who he will have next.
Yeah, looking along in the top, he's beaten everyone ahead of him, like mainly, except for Merab, which makes me think, is he second in line and just waiting for his ticket and his number to be called? So I guess we'll have to wait and see.
I don't want to see that rematch.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. Last thing I will say, I know I'm known for making these crazy call outs in next fights, but I would love to see Song Yadong Cheeto go at it, but that probably won't happen. So I'll have to go hop on UFC 5 and throw it on the computer and watch.
I don't think that'd be terrible. I
It's
think
just not realistic.
Why not? I think Cheetos would still be right in front of him, but I think Cheeto loses pretty badly to Song Yadong as well.
100%. If I'm Cheeto, I'm trying to fight up. Like, I'm trying to get up.
I don't know that he will. I don't know that he will, because what's up? Like, Piotr Jan, who has he fought Piotr?
Who?
Cheeto, has he fought Piotr?
He would get wrecked. Probably not.
Like,
Piotr was the champ.
Saying. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't make sense. There's really nobody else that I want to see.
It's either Song or Henry. Like, that's all. That's yes.
He was Henry too, I think. Honestly,
yeah.
I don't know. After watching that last fight, it was just.
I was so happy that he was finally getting a big fight, and I was like, if he pulls this off, it's really good. But if he loses, we're going down in the deep dark cavern of depression here.
Song Yadong might get Umar Nurmagomedov, which would really hurt.
I'd cry. Let's just move on. Let's just move on so I can cry a little bit more. Jailton Almeida losing to Curtis Blades. This was my lock of the card. I will say 9 takedowns overall in the fight. I think he had 7 in the first round. His previous best being 6 against Derek Lewis. And this is another fight where I was like, first round, I'm feeling great. And then he just has no defense, goes for the other takedown, and Curtis Blade just grabs the hammer of Thor and just starts raining down hammer fists on Jailton and knocks him out. Curtis Blades, welcome back. Good to see you off injury. Slithering his way into the title conversation. We'll have to wait and see. But someone tweeted at Tom Aspinall, said Curtis Blades, Tom Aspinall next. Tom said he's in. Haven't heard from Curtis. I personally don't want to see that fight. And we'll have to wait and see what's next for the heavyweight division. Artie?
Yeah, I think that this is another one where I think the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, he's getting takedowns, he's getting the control time. Like, yeah, I'm sure he was wearing down on Curtis's gas tank, but that blind shot into just him stuffing it, and then, like you said, just raining down the hammer fists was very impressive. And I think this hurts Almeida a lot more than it does for Curtis. So I don't know. It'll be interesting. The heavyweight division is very wide open. I don't think it's very competitive at the top or like below like the top 7. So I mean, I don't know. There's definitely good things that could happen. Yalton could get somebody like Volkov, who is, obviously said that he wants to be very active this year. Curtis Blades, maybe he gets Pavlovich again, and that could be a rematch that we see for a good title eliminator. But nonetheless, it was a good showing from Yalton right until that takedown with some good defense from Curtis Blades.
Yeah. A tale of 2 different rounds. Jailton Almeida, I was not expecting him to do that in the first round against Curtis Blades. I mean, Curtis Blades, one of the best heavyweight wrestlers, and he just got ragdolled. So he got thrown around like he was nothing. And I was expecting that to happen in rounds 2 and round 3. Of note, one significant strike for Jailton Almeida. I mean, that's not what you like to see. So Curtis Blades was able to get back up right away when he was taken down, but really Almeida barely did anything on the ground. Second round, completely different. Almeida shoots as Curtis Blades expected, gets caught. He was talking a little bit about like pushing him down with his belly so that he couldn't move, and then raining down those hammer fists. So, I mean, good for Blades. Where does he go from here? I don't want to see him against Pavlovich. He was scared against Pavlovich, and I'm sure he would still be scared. Cyril Gane up at number 2. That could be interesting. I don't know if the people want to see it, but I think stylistically it could be pretty okay. Cyril Gane, not as strong of a puncher as Pavlovich, but does have good wrestling D. So maybe Curtis Blades would be more active, but Curtis Blades is not a heavyweight champion. Like, come on. he's good for the UFC for his wrestling, but it wasn't the best to see someone just take him down so easily, like Jailton Almeida. I don't know. I'm not the biggest Blades fan. I was expecting Almeida to win here, but regardless of the result, we got to see a lot in this fight. So good.
Yeah, I thought Yalton was going to dominate him early, and I didn't know if he was going to be able to do anything, and it showed that Curtis Blades. I have a text and I have a receipt, and I'm just going to rip it right out of Artie's mouth right here and say American wrestling is greater than Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and this proves that. So I'll admit when I'm wrong. I can do that. I'm man enough. As for the permutations, personally, I wouldn't mind Curtis against Cyril Gane, and just me being the Russian, I just want to see Volkov and Sergey, and I want to see Sergey just drop Volkov off at the daycare. But I don't think that would happen stylistically or ranking wise. They're too far apart. So we'll have to wait and see. The heavyweight division's an interesting one because it's like not a lot of guys wrestle. So like when you have wrestlers go at it and then they have to go two separate divisions, it's like, all right, now what do we do here? Because we don't want to impact the numbers and the rankings too much. So guess we'll have to wait and see. But Yalton only getting me one fantasy point. Song getting me one fantasy point. Benoit only getting me one fantasy point. Just stuck in third, boys. Can't do anything. If you guys want to talk trades, maybe we can discuss. We'll have to see, but that's probably not going to happen. I'm just going to call her Blonde Fighter at this point because we keep yelling at each other over the last name behind the scenes. Chikuyin, Sermonara, whatever you want to call her. We're not going to call her again after she loses to Macy Barber. I thought she did really well on the with the hands. She's been preparing for this fight since September, it seems like. That 28-29 was a little crazy to me. I think Macy did show overall that she was in control. She had good ring positioning. She was able to leverage some of her wrestling. I thought she was going to wrestle more out of the fight, but she showed that, hey, I have a resume, and that resume deserves a title shot next, and we support it. Artie?
I don't know that the 28-29 was that crazy. That second round, after Doc and I were talking about it, I watched it back. Like, Macy seemed to have pushed the pace a lot more in rounds 1 and 3, and then the second round, Caitlin something switched, and she said, "I'm not taking this anymore." She had her against the fence quite a bit, and I think that's where that control time comes in. And she looked like she could have definitely had the second round, and then she also hit Macy with a pretty good knee, I believe, too. So. I mean, not a terrible showing, but Macy definitely the much better fighter. And Macy we could be seeing her against either Fiora or Aaron Blanchfield, depending on who wins that one for like a good title eliminator. Maybe even an interim belt or something, because Valentina and Alexa Grasso are going to be doing the tough show. So it'll be interesting. It's the women's flyweight is like very, very competitive in the top, so we'll have to wait and see. Doc?
Yeah, good win for Macy Barber. She such a hyped prospect coming up. I still don't feel like she's lived up to everything that we were told she was going to be. Good win against Caitlin Sermonara Chikugian. But yeah, that second round to me just put more doubts in what Macy Barber can do for the future in this division. So we'll see. Good win for her, but again, just not the most impressive in my opinion.
And that's why I am very firm on let's get her a McDonald's Happy Meal, get her up to bantamweight, and put her for a title shot there and shake up things there, because there's not a lot of names at the top there, and there are a lot of names in the flyweight division. So we'll see. We'll have to wait and see. I do agree. I think I had it 30-27. That's why I kept my own scorecard for the night. I threw it out because I was embarrassed by the main card, but I remember that one. And yeah, we'll have to wait and see what's next. On to Matias Gamrot and Rafael Dos Anjos. And one of you boys could hit that bell for me again. I believe this one was a ringer, and so was the previous one. I thought Gamrot was going to lose. Gamrot gets cracked early. RDA showing why he used to be a great champ, and I was sitting there and I was watching. I'm like, this is it. He's gonna secure it. But Gamrot gets this crazy single leg takedown, gets back into it. Gamrot, I think, has now taken down all 9 of his UFC opponents. And after that point, RDA felt like he was feeling himself and went for a fence grab, started just trying to get back into this one, and it showed that he wasn't able to. 30-27 on this one is kind of crazy. I don't know what judge that was, but after he got that knockdown, it was just horrible wrestling overall. But he had some good hand checking in the grappling, had pretty decent defending. But in the end, Mateusz Gamrot can't stop him. Artie?
Yeah, I mean, I think you can stop him if you have your knees intact. We'll see if we get some sort of fight again. Yeah, like I said in the pre-show, I think if RDA isn't 39 years old, I might have actually just picked him for this fight in general. It just the age at this point makes a difference, especially for Mateus. Like he's such a he's built well all around, and he is a big time wrestler, so his stamina will always be there. So for fights like this, when even if you get knocked down, that does make a big difference, because if he was same age as RDA, his chin probably would have gave out. But yeah, I don't know. I'm still not very high on Mateus. It's interesting what will happen in the lightweight division for him, because I mean, technically his resume isn't awful, and he's beaten one of the guys who's ahead of him now. So I don't know. We'll see. Doc.
Yeah. We were talking about it before the fight started, that the minus 400 or minus 500 or whatever they pinged Gamrot at was ridiculous. And we were about 3 or 4 punches away from proving that. I think I also said on the pre-show that I thought this was going to be Dos Anjos's last fight, but he looked great out there. I don't know how he does it. Defies logic, but he looked really, really good for his age, and he looked like he could compete. He was so close to getting Gamrot out of there. So not the most exciting fight, again, because it was wrestling focused. Gamrot was scared to be on his feet because he was clearly outmatched there. At the end of the fight, he calls out Islam, says that he's a better wrestler than Islam. That's just wrong. I mean, you take away Gamrot's wrestling, which Islam would do, and he'll look like he doesn't belong in the UFC. So, yeah, interesting call. I'm sure he wants to get that title shot. He has beaten Arman, but yeah, wild statement from Gamrot.
It's like, have you seen who's ahead of you and who's more like credible and valid of getting that title shot right now? It's like maybe we wait for Gamrot and get someone who loses and needs to get back in the mix and snipe them out. That would be the best approach. But I'll say it once and I'll say it again. RDA, company man, get him a fight that he wants to have him go out on, because I'm sick and tired of seeing people bully him. He showed levels. Minus 450 is crazy. That's your storyline at the end of the day. And that's what we'll roll it. Kyler Phillips defeating Pedro Munoz via unanimous decision, 30-27 across the whole board. Kyler showed that he's definitely been hanging around with Marcus McGee, and they've definitely been doing a bit of sparring. He was throwing a ton of crazy heel kicks to start. He had good volume, great pacing. Pedro seemed that he was doing well as well. For a second, I thought we were going to dip off here. He was very evasive. He was able to get Phillips to the cage. But in the end, just the better fighter won, and I was the only one who got it right. Artie?
Yeah, I think age played a huge difference in this
100%.
one. And obviously we'll see Kyler Phillips in the top 15 tomorrow, I believe, is when the rankings change, right?
Tuesday. Yep.
So I mean, good for him. He put on a show, and I mean, I kind of felt a little bit bad for Pedro Munoz because, like, at his age, it's just I don't know. There needs to be like a cutoff for the UFC, I think. But then we wouldn't have champions that were 40 years old. Obviously, we've had two of those, but I don't know. There's just I think the age shows a lot more at the lower weight classes because of the weight cut and um, the pace that they have. But Kyler Phillips looked very, very good, an exciting prospect for the bantamweight division, which is absolutely stacked. So
Love to see it.
be interesting.
Yeah, the
Doc?
division is stacked. Kyler Phillips, I didn't think he had it in him, but he looked super quick, super accurate. Pedro Munoz looked old, couldn't do his normal takedown. So, hey, good pick there, Alex. And I'm sure Kyler Phillips, he's proven that he's not somebody to underestimate here. He looked really, really good. I wasn't expecting that from him.
We're a ways away from it, but the whole fight, I was thinking who I want to see him go at next. And I don't know why the first name popped in my mind is Rob Font, but I feel like he has a ways to go until he gets that. And I think Rob Font would stop him. So I think it'd be a cool fight to see stylistically, just from watching them both. But I don't think that's very me and characteristic of me of stopping these hype trains early. And I need to stop doing that. Boy, the Hulk. Disappointment. Ian Kutlaba losing to Felipe Lins. This one was a pretty good war overall. Like, good striking. They were going at it pretty well. Lins had more volume, but the difference maker was Eon's leg just got cracked early, was welting early. He didn't switch his stance, I think, till the later rounds, and he allowed Felipe to chip away at him, and it showed that it definitely played a factor into the fight. Did you guys see after they announced the winner, Eon didn't even want to shake his hand and he just was like F off and walked away? It was so disrespectful. I thought that was hilarious. But it just showed how frustrated he was. Artie?
Yeah, I think there was a lot going on even before they got to the ring, so that might be why the disrespect. And looked good in the first round. Felipe definitely showed why wrestling is still the best base in the UFC. You can build so much from there by setting it up with good leg kicks, which he did. And yeah, I mean, I feel like Kudabala, for a guy that looks like he does, I don't know. I expected a little bit more, and I feel like at this point, every time he fights, everybody's always so excited and everybody wants him to win. It's just it hasn't been happening. Doc?
Yeah, the difference maker in this fight was that first round where Kutalaba didn't check a single leg kick, and I think it might have been Bisping that said it. He's like, Kutalava's leg has welts on top of the previously formed welts. I mean, his leg looked disgusting. And I was shocked that he could even walk after that first round. But he wasn't even grimacing when he was moving forward. But he wasn't making the stance switch. Like, what are you doing? Your leg is completely dead after one round. You still have 2 rounds to go. I'm shocked that it wasn't ended. All Felipe Lins had to do was kick that leg after that first round because that was clearly injured. But yeah, Kuchalaba, we get excited for his reckless style, and he couldn't do that after the first round because he couldn't move forward. So good win for Lins. He kind of disguised this leg kicking strategy, considering I think he's threw 9 total leg kicks or connected on 9 leg kicks in his entire career before throwing 24 here. So Kutalaba couldn't have seen it coming, and yeah, he clearly won.
Such a bad loss and such a bad miss from the Ring Boys, making Moldova disappointed. I will say I found out in Moldova when they do fighting, the winner gets a live goat just put on their shoulders, and that's like how they do belts over there. I think that's the coolest thing ever, but Eon, no goat for you. No goat for you.
Goat free zone.
Yeah, literally. Moving along, more exciting guy, Michel Pereira, dancing his way into the ring. in that walkout and dancing and doing whatever he wanted to Michal. I mean, I'm glad we scouted the chin on Michal. Didn't scout the body, and Michel Pereira just cracking him early, definitely breaking a rib. I haven't seen anything come out. It did not look good at all. Got Michal to the mat, choked him out, was done. Said, Brazil, get me on 301. I'm ready to go. And as long as he doesn't dance in the ring, I'm good for it. Let's just get to fighting. Like, unless you're doing an Undertaker style walk-in, I'm sick and tired of the shows. I'm here to watch fights, not Dancing with the Stars. Artie?
I don't care. You need a couple of guys in the UFC that are like actual true entertainers, and Michelle is definitely one of those. As I was saying on the pre-show, I don't know why you guys picked this other guy. Like Jay Strickland, who has he beaten? I like literally no idea. Michel Pereira, very exciting fighter, and I think he proved that. And obviously, with just how long the fight was, he's definitely going to be ready for 301 if they make that call. So it'd be another exciting fight that we get to see. And anytime he's on any fight card, I will always watch his fights because there's going to be something, and obviously the entry and the sub, it was just too good. Doc.
Yeah, I mean, I was wrong here. I thought Oleksiejczuk would connect on a punch to end this fight, and he didn't even get there because Michel Pereira, just beautiful footwork, beautiful striking. Pereira for like 3 years didn't have a finish, and that is the type of fighter that I know. And I thought that his last fight against Petrosky was kind of a fluke. Clearly wasn't. I mean, he looked so good out there. And he finished him off with a submission. So super impressive fight. I was very wrong here, but I'm expecting Pereira to win his next fight. Maybe this is where he starts making his run. He's not even ranked, but there's some good middleweights in the lower rankings. So let's see it happen.
And he's only 30, so
Yeah.
Why not?
Chris Curtis. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, no,
I think Chris Curtis is honestly like a good entry for him into the rankings. Why not?
Yeah. I hope
not going to give him Kaio. Like,
they're not, but they're not going to give it for they're not going to give it for Brazil for 301. Kaio's more realistic for 301 though, because they're both Brazilian. No, I'm just kidding. But Doc, I know we got this one right, but you just said you were looking for the punch. He got one punch. Look at the stats. We got the one punch. Is that the punch we were looking for? Definitely not. Anyways, moving on. The big boy, the big boy, the big boy, the big boy. For a second, I thought he was going to lose, throwing a crazy, was it a head kick? And then he slipped on the mat and then stands up. When he stood up, I was impressed. Like a guy that size to just stand up, run backwards, and Sean O'Malley, like throw volume, big shots, and drop off Josh Parisian at the daycare, as I like to say. Yeah, finished him in 18 seconds. Still haven't seen him fight past 19 seconds in his career. 5-0. Heavyweight title contender? Question mark, exclamation point. I don't know. Artie, what are we feeling?
I mean, like I said, the UFC division, heavyweight division is so bad. Like from 15 to 10, he definitely could have somebody in there that he could fight and probably crack the rankings as soon as he wants to. Josh Parisian is somebody who's on his way out of the UFC anyway, and I knew that this was going to be like a Dana layup. He definitely slipped and fell, but like you said, it was very impressive how quickly he stood up. I wouldn't expect less from somebody who is an Olympian and like a medalist Olympian, So, yeah, I mean, just impressive. He showed he is way too powerful. Like this, absolutely insane. Like those 7 strikes were just absolutely terrifying. So, on to you, Doc.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Artie. Dana gave this new up and coming guy in the UFC a can to use as a punching bag, and he finished the fight. I mean, earlier this year we had Tatsuro Taira minus like 1,200 favorite against someone and just didn't do anything. So he won the fight, but this is how you win a fight when you're an exciting fighter that everybody wants to see. He did what he had to do. His stock is only going up, not many heavyweights lose in 19 seconds or 18 seconds in the UFC. So that was great.
I want to see him against Derek Lewis, boys. I'll say it right now. Just kidding.
Why not? Why not? He would win.
I think he needs one more before, though. Like one more before the end of the year, and then let's have him against Derek Lewis. I want to see him knock someone else out. I will say before we move on from this one, I'm shocked this wasn't the first fight on the card. Like, we always talk about like Dana wanting to put out a show or do something crazy. Like, this wasn't the knockout I thought we were going to get, but it was still very impressive. Like,
we got a good first fight. Don't you worry about
that.
that.
Don't disrespect the ladies. That was a very.
I'm saying before we scheduled it. Like, I didn't look at the order. I'm not disrespecting Marina Moroz losing to Joanne Wood, which we'll cover here shortly. But before we get to that one and give a salute off to Joanne Wood, we got to talk about the salute from Asu and Asu Almabayev. One thing I'm going to say before I even talk about the fight or the result, was it just me or did CJ Vergara look like significantly bigger than Asu? Like, I understand he missed weight by 1 pound, but like I want to see the rehydration numbers because he looked like way bigger than Asu. And Asu was getting his back very easily, but he wasn't able to do much with it. Like, CJ Vergara had like this awkward stance. He kept switching up. He kept changing levels. And then like he finally started getting taken down, but Asu just like couldn't get a handle of him. And he was able to like roll off from time to time. It just seemed like he was too muscular. So Asu caught CG with a big knee and then a spinning head kick to end the fight. I thought that was pretty cool. But I mean, they're flyweights. We're here for volume. We're not here for power. But good to see a ringer from the Ring Boys on us on this one and the previous one. So, Artie?
I can talk a little bit about this one too. You know, I brought up that we've been burned by Kazakhstani fighters in the past, but not Saturday night. Asu put on a great performance, heavy wrestling, did a really good job. CJ Vergara's game plan was prevent takedowns. And even with that being the game plan, Asu did what he needed to do. And that's probably because his striking was also looking really good. So as soon as he wasn't in a position to get takedowns, he would throw his strikes and he did some damage to Vergara. I don't know. I thought it was a very good fight to watch. And Asu has great control on the ground. I believe the commentators were talking a bit about how there are some very good wrestlers in the flyweight division. We'll see if Mokaev is going to be in the future for Asu Alimbayev, but that's the one fighter that I was thinking about to see, and I think Asu is much better on the ground.
Yeah, I mean, this was impressive, and I guess this is what like you should do when you're such an up and coming prospect. CJ Vergara, like you said, definitely looked a little bit bigger, but I think that's because he showed he's got trouble cutting that weight, and he tried his best. And I think Asu is like just a natural 125 pounder, so I'm excited to see him get into the top 15 and make a run that he deserves. And he's very young, so this is definitely maybe like Shavkat could be a Kazakhstanian champion at some point, but very, very impressive. That I mean, the whole flyweight division is very good. So, we'll see.
I'm not comfortable giving him the nickname Baby Shavkat. It's still up for grabs right now. That's all I'll say. All right. Starting fight of the night and a great fight. Joanne Wood going off in retirement, defeating Marina Moroz via split decision. This was, as I like to call it, a battle of the tennis grunts. They were just going at it like they gave it their all. A lot of good volume overall from both of these fighters. Marina seemed to be getting more and more predictable as the fight went on. Like, yeah, she was winning. Going into that third round, I felt like Joanna Wood was doing a great job getting off the grappling, getting off the fence, getting out of those control situations against her, and then just catches her with the most beautiful spinning back fist I've seen in a while. And if there was more time, she would have gotten the finish and probably would have gotten the 50 Gs. But she got the win and She got her win, she got her say, and she got a good UFC career, and we'll miss her. Artie?
Yeah, this was like if you're going out and you get a fighter who's much younger, and that's like generally just picked to win, and you beat them, that this was impressive. Joanne Wood looked really good. This was an absolute banger to open up the whole card. Marina looked very upset after they called the winner, which I was surprised by. Like, I mean, yes, the fight was close, but he did basically get knocked out at the end. Nonetheless, like, great career for Joanne Wood. And, I know what an incredible way to go out in a fight that's just absolute fireworks, and you get people going the way that she did. So, yeah, Doc, how do you?
Yeah, I think that second round was pretty difficult to call. But you know, we uh, we sometimes blame fighters when it's like the third round and they know that they're down 2-0 and they know they need a knockout and they're like scared to go for it. Joanne Wood knew that this was the last 5 minutes of her career, and she was able to land this like wonderful spinning back fist that, as the commentators correctly said, could have knocked out almost anybody in that division with how clean it landed. And she literally gave it her all in that final round, and it's so great to see that, like the passion for the sport that she has, and being able to put on that performance. I hope she got rewarded for that. I mean, that is just a great performance to go out like that. Tough to see Moroz lose. I think she was winning that third round up until that spinning back fist. But she'll learn from it and move forward. But overall, very happy to see what Joanne Wood could do.
In this fight is a prime example why we love the sport. Going at it, and then just one simple move can change and alter the whole direction of a fight. Prime example of that. That's your UFC 299 card from the 305. It truly was the Sugar Show. Performance bonuses.
O'Malley!
Get Snoop Dogg up in here. Performance bonuses going to Sean O'Malley, Jack Della Maddalena, Curtis Blades, Michelle Pereira, Robelis de España, as I like to call him. I'm going to say that because that's the funny way of saying his name, but I'm going to continue to do it. Fight of the night being Dustin Poirier versus Benoit Saint Denis. So he gets the 50 Gs and he gets to promote his hot sauces. If I hear him promote those hot sauces one more time, I'm done. Artie, congrats on winning the card, going 9 for 14. Doc and I splitting with the 7. We didn't update the overall accuracies, but I can do some quick math here. I think Artie's behind me by 2. Doc's behind me by 2 on the yearly. Overall pay-per-view, Artie in the lead now by 1. And Doc, you and I are split by 2. I'm up 2 on you. And good prediction accuracy. Like I said, the main card was the hardest thing to predict. And I mean, Kevin Holland and Gilbert Burns really let us down. I thought we would get a little bit more to go there. So I'll flash that on the screen there. Fantasy picks. Already just asserting pure dominance in the Ring Boys 2024 fantasy. Getting that Macy Barber win gets you up to 20 points now.
Does it? You even put the points in there. Still says 0.
All right, you count your points. I only have 4. I know that. We haven't updated the sheet. Doc, I think you got another one with Kevin Holland. You're at 8. So Artie, I guess, is at 23, whatever. Shouts from our huge fan section of redraft trades, mix it up potentially. But I think we're going to hold true on this, and then you'll see us do a redraft at the top of the next calendar year. That's going to be it from us. Going forward, quick announcement to make. We will not be doing pre-shows for the next few fight nights. We'll be doing recap shows. We'll be tweeting our picks, getting more live on the socials. As Artie always likes to say, follow us on the show socials at the Ring Boys podcast everywhere. And yeah, did I miss anything here, boys?
No, just look out for the new episodes of the fight night coverage. They're going to be a little bit different. We're hoping to talk more a little bit about the fight news and kind of what's going on, and maybe talk more about the permutations of the fights that we've seen maybe from the past week. But it should be very exciting, and just like everybody watching, we're still trying to figure out what's the best way to do this show. So, thank you for following us along, and we're almost at 20. That's an exciting number.
What are we in the top 1% of podcasts now, episode wise, or something?
That's what my buddy told me. I don't know if that's true or not, but that is an exciting number.
Joe Rogan, we're ready for you to come for us to come to Texas, whatever you want. Doc, any last words?
No, like I said when we started this, it was just such a great card. So it's exciting to talk about. I hope you could see our passion that we have for this sport. And it's always fun to get this episode up.
That we do. 3 more fight nights till UFC 300, boys. 3 more fight nights. We're almost there. April 13th, Alex Pereira will defend his belt against Jamal Hill. We'll break down that card for you. And yeah, till then, this has been the Ring Boys, and we'll see you later, Ringside Nation. Bye-bye. My fantasy team sucks.